What if I told you that the greatest muscle car of all time wasn't the fastest, wasn't the most powerful, and wasn't even the most expensive? The 1967 Ford Mustang defied expectations and redefined what it meant to be a performance car. With its perfect blend of style, power, and everyday usability, the '67 Mustang became more than just a car. It became a cultural icon. But how did Ford manage to create a legend that's still revered today? And what secrets does this 50-year-old design hold that modern car makers are still trying to replicate? Picture this. It's 1964, and the Mustang gallops onto the automotive scene. Ford's affordable and sleek car is slowly turning heads.
Now, make your every day an unexpectedly beautiful day with Mustang.
But there was just one problem. The Mustang was in danger of becoming a secretary's car. Something you buy to look sporty, but not actually drive in a sporty fashion. And there was more trouble on the horizon. Chevrolet, Ford's eternal rival, is cooking up something fierce in their labs. The Camaro is coming, and it's bringing raw, unfiltered American muscle. The muscle car era is dawning, suddenly making Ford's pony car look a bit tame. With rivals forming in the shadow, Ford knew it was time for a metamorphosis. Something had to change, and fast. Enter 1967. Ford's designers and engineers hunker down, burning the midnight oil. They know that to compete, the Mustang needs more than just a facelift. It needs to evolve from a stylish cruiser into a true muscle car contender. The result? The Mustang reborn as a beast. Wider, longer, and meaner than anything that came before it. The wider grille gives the car a commanding presence that demands respect, while sharp angular lines cut through the air and through the competition's chances. But this makeover isn't just skin deep. Under that resculpted hood, a revolution is brewing. Ford's engineers recognize that to truly compete, they need to bring the heat. And bring it they do, in the form of the 390 cubic inch V8. This isn't your average cruiser anymore, folks. This is a tire-shredding, asphalt-eating monster in the making. The car that emerges from Ford's factories is ready to take on all comers, commanding respect not just for its looks, but for the raw power and performance it brings to the table. It's Ford's declaration that they're not just in the game, they're here to win it, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and elevating a beloved icon to legendary status. But if you thought Ford was done there, think again. The roar of engines thundered across the French countryside as Ford's GT40 screamed past the checkered flag at Le Mans in 1966. This wasn't just a victory, it was a revolution. But how do you take that race-winning pedigree and inject it into a street-legal muscle car? Enter Carroll Shelby, the alchemist of speed. Shelby and his team got to work, determined to infuse the Mustang with the same racing DNA that had conquered Le Mans. The result was the GT500, a street-legal monster with the heart of a race car. At its core was a 428 cubic inch V8 engine, the Le Mans Cobra. In an era when 300 horsepower was considered exceptional, the GT500's numbers were otherworldly. It could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.5 seconds and hit a top speed of 128 miles per hour. But there was one problem. Fitting that massive 428 engine into the Mustang's more compact chassis was like trying to cram a lion into a shoebox. It required all of Shelby's ingenuity and his team's engineering prowess to make it work. Charlie McCose, one of Ford's key designers, drew heavily from the GT40 during the GT500's development. His goal wasn't just to make a faster Mustang. It was to create a car that captured the very essence of Ford's racing success.
This picture here is an example of GT40 influence. These scoops here, I looked at a GT40, and the back end of GT40 has two scoops on top, just behind the window. And I looked at those and I thought, well, we'll put some scoops up by the quarter window on the Shelby to make it look like a racing car.
But the body wasn't just about looks. It was a functional piece of engineering art. Lightweight fiberglass components were used extensively, improving both aerodynamics and handling. This wasn't just a muscle car. It was a precision instrument. The GT500 represented a quantum leap forward from the already impressive GT350, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect. The '67 Mustang burst onto American streets, igniting a cultural phenomenon. On warm summer nights in 1967, the rumble of engines filled the air as Camaros, Chargers, and GTOs lined up at stoplights. Among these heavy hitters sat the Mustang, turning heads and racing hearts. It might not have boasted the biggest engine or the most horsepower, but it captured the American spirit in a way that left other contenders in its dust. But it wasn't just about performance. The Mustang offered a perfect blend of style, customization, and attainability. It wasn't just about speed. It was about the journey and how you looked while getting there. Customization became the Mustang's calling card. Every '67 pony car was a blank canvas, ready for transformation. And before they knew it, the Mustang's influence roared beyond garages and drag strips. When Steve McQueen took the wheel of a Highland Green Fastback and Bullet, he elevated the car to movie star status. That San Francisco car chase did more than showcase performance. It cemented the Mustang as a symbol of freedom and individuality. But it was in Tokyo Drift where the Mustang was thrust into an entirely different spotlight. This wasn't a muscle car laying down rubber. It was being pushed into the high-stakes world of drifting. The idea of a Mustang taking on the winding mountain passes of Japan seemed absurd at first, but that's exactly what made it legendary. The Mustang wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. It had been reborn for a new generation, proving that icons don't fade. They evolve. And over half a century later, the '67 Mustang's allure hasn't faded. It's become an American icon, a connection to an era of optimism, power, and style. This legacy continues to shape the automotive world. Modern Mustangs carry the DNA of their '67 ancestor in their aggressive stance, long hood, and short deck lid. It's more than retro-inspired design. It's the continuation of a bloodline that has defined American performance for generations. The 1967 Mustang redefined the performance landscape, shaping the DNA of modern muscle cars like the 2020 Shelby GT500. This modern beast, with its 760 horsepower engine, pays homage to its ancestors' aggressive stance while preserving the '67's raw spirit. Next time you see a Mustang cruising down the road, remember, you're witnessing a living, breathing piece of automotive evolution. It's history in motion.